Hello everyone, welcome back to our Java class. This is Chris with an X. Going over today, we'll be discussing methods. A method is a block of commands that we invoke using an object reference, which in the case here we're using T2, and we'll be following it up with what's known as a method name with parameters. So now actually going over what we're actually going to be doing today. So today I'm going to be going over how to draw a pentagram. Okay, if you don't know, it's a 5-pointed star. Now normally you can use just the interactions page like I showed last time, but in this case, this is really inconvenient for everyone to do every time you want to draw a star. And for those wondering, this is actually different from what I used from my PSA2 code and assignment. In my above definitions page here is the code I'll be showing you today. So now the first thing you want to look over is at line 100. We now know that this is going to be our public void method because we're going to be inputting in variables and we'll be actually outputting something that actually doesn't have a value-based output. In this case, we'll be going over length of my sides and the number of sides I actually have. So when you write a method, you need to define all your initial variables not controlled as parameters, like these right here, above your actual method. So let's see, 1 second. All right, repeating. As I said before, you need to enter these values in before your method because without them, anything down here won't know what they mean by angle, length, number of sides, or even point turn. You need to give these values in first because it always goes from top to bottom. So now note, in this entire thing, last time we just used this stuff, but in this case, we're actually going to be using a for loop. Now, a loop is a method type that will repeat indefinitely as long as it meets the requirements to continue. In my case, I first tell my value of I, right here, as 0. But we don't want to have this run indefinitely, so I'm saying I need I to continue until it reaches the same number of sides as I had mentioned here. Now, this will execute literally these 2 steps here multiple times until it reaches 5 in my case, since it's a 5-pointed star. And this last value here for a for function will say how much I will increment. And in this case, it will increase by 1 every time this executes this last line until it's done. Now, how does this relate to the real world? Well, if you ever heard of people called gamers, they use what's known as a macro. Macros are a way for people to press a single button to execute multiple lines, or in this case, a macro could also be a method. Like, I don't want to draw a pentagram every single time. Well, for example, when I click, for instance, my G1 button, I create a macro that tells it to say, I want you to write this, because half our class we're writing this, and it's really time consuming. So you can actually do this for a lot of different industries as long as it's compliant within the government's laws. But this will actually allow you to increase productivity because if you have known methods that you're going to be having to use frequently, you can actually use specific keys or even sequence of keys to run your program. So I'm just going to go quickly over what our method here is going to do. So I'm going to say I need a new world. It's going to pop it up for me. I'm going to use my macro 2. Now I got my little turtle. Now, as I said before, since this is about methods, we're going to say our reference object, T, as mentioned before and last time, T is our new turtle, is now going to draw turtle pentagram to equal a length side of 50 for 5 points. And we should get a little tiny star. Now, you could literally run this multiple times if you want. I can include a secondary loop to say, hey, I want you to run all these at once. I can do that, like I did for my PSA2, which I did for my assignment. And when I run it, for example, this is a different kind of macro. You can create things like this. So this is just the basics of methods. Hope you guys enjoyed. Please give me some good suggestions and advices before I have to submit on Friday. Stay sane, everyone. Bye.